and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
I want to thank you all for joining me today. It's President's Day. You feeling presidential? I don't know. It's President's Day. And they used to celebrate Washington's birthday. They used to celebrate Lincoln's birthday. Now they just shove it all into one day. They call it President's Day. Isn't it funny? The old guys who actually did something to find this country, we're shoving them into just a one-day category. But yet, everyone who has a Pride Month for this, Pride Month for that, they get a whole entire month. In fact, they get the month of February. Yeah, and it's President's Day. So, I heard there was a protest down at the boardwalk, the Coos Bay boardwalk. Someone said, Rob, should we be down there? Should we be watching them crazy leftists? Like, not really. They don't have the balls to do anything. And if they did, we got enough people in town that we would just drop a dime and get 100 armed men out there within probably about 15, 20 minutes. So if they thought about doing anything crazy, if they thought about going on a Antifa run, going down Central and smashing windows, they're going to have a little bit of problems. We had a few people out there watching them, make sure he didn't get out of trouble. And I know the police were out there watching them. I really don't think that the leftists here in Coos County, they just don't have the cojones to do what their brethren do up north. Their comrades, so to say, their comrades up in Portland. They just don't have the same cojones as they do up in Portland, because they know we're just not going to put up with their BS. We're not going to put up with their BS. And but it was funny. Let me see if I can get this sharing screen up. It was funny. Let's see if I can get this. Yeah, we'll start with this one. We'll start with this one, talking about Joanne's. But before I go to that, I want to share this screen right here. Let's see if I can make that full screen. Oh, there you go. There you go. Resist, everyone. You got to resist them. From reestablishing the First Amendment, reestablishing the Second Amendment, resist them from going into USAID and all the other government agencies and saving us billions of dollars in spending. That's what the Democratic Party of Coos County wants you to do. They want you to resist. This is the National Day of Protest, is this Monday, February 17th. Rally at noon, 2 p.m., Coos Bay Boardwalk. Of course, it's all over with now. Bring flag signs to this peaceful rally. So it was mostly peaceful. Actually, it was pretty much all peaceful from what I heard, because if it was mostly peaceful, then like I said, they would be having a little bit of trouble. But no, it was mostly peaceful, and that's a good thing. So congratulations. I support everyone's right to protest. And if there were people out there trying to stop these crazy leftists from protesting, I'd be the first to say, no. We want them to protest. We want them out there. We want them saying all the stupid stuff that they chant. And we want them to do this. So first off, we can show the children what not to become. But second off, we can know who the idiots are in the community. I think these people should be out there so that everyone can see who these Democrat leftists are in Coos County. So I think that's a wonderful thing. I think that's a wonderful thing. Let's see, I got a comment. Jeff P. Fakina. Yeah, boy, I bet it was. I don't know if you were out there, Jeff. I don't know if you got to see some of these crazies out there. Like I said, I get people who contact me. Should we be out there? Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. But there was I started off with one screen and went with the other. I want to put this up. Let me add this to the stage here. And this was going out of business sales to begin Saturday after court approves Joanne bankruptcy plan. Now, I don't know if you guys know about the Joanne craft store. The initial store closing list for crafting retailer Joanne includes at least one location in all 50 states except Hawaii. And from what I understand, the one here in Coos County is closing. Yes, it's unfortunate, but Washington, Joanne, the crafting and fabrics retailer, received court approval for its plans to close more than half of its remaining stores after declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time in less than a year. Wow, they did it twice in 1 year. I didn't even know you could do that. But you can, obviously, and they did. And the company filed a motion Wednesday in bankruptcy court seeking to shutter around 533 of its 800 U.S. locations. A judge approved the motion Friday, allowing the company to begin closing approximately 500 stores across the nation. Going out of business sales could begin as early as Saturday, February 15th. And yep, what I understand is that the store in Coos, in the Pony Village Mall, wouldn't that be North Bend? I think that's North Bend, was going to be closing, and that's sad. It's sad to see that go. Where am I going to get all my doily supplies? I'm an old-time doily maker. I got some really badass doilies, the ones I got to have them for my toilet paper. You got to have those doilies for your toilet paper. Where am I going to go now for all my doily supplies? I mean, if they close down Joanne's craft goods, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be having a doilies shortage here. And I think we need to look into that. I think we need to look into it. There was something interesting that happened up in the legislature today. And anyone who knows the legislature, what a bunch of hypocrites our politicians are. Well, here was a strange thing that happened in our legislature today, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute. But let me go over a few things that are actually happening in and around Portland. I don't know whether you know this, but Portland has had more murders than Seattle or Denver. Yeah, you haven't beaten Albuquerque yet, but Portland is doing pretty good at people being murdered in their city. And this was in the Oregon Catalyst, and it says that Portland saw a decrease in homicides from 77 to 71 in 2024. So there's 6 people who are damn happy, but there's 71 who, well, aren't happy at all. And Portland had more homicides than Seattle and Denver in 2024, despite having fewer people. Yeah, there were fewer people to kill, but yet they were able to go out and find enough to kill them. And they beat Seattle. And, Portland, they got to keep up with the Joneses there. Portland's decline reflects a national trend last year for cities for the 6 months for which has been recorded, which has a steep decline. And so I guess Portland, in 2014, there was a murder rate right there, as you can see it in 2014. And oh wow, I guess you can't see it because I don't have the screen share here. Damn, what did I do? Boy, I just did that whole story and you guys didn't see a darn thing. Let me share that again. Okay. Share this. There we go. Portland had more murders than Seattle. I repeat myself. I do that quite often. But I thought this was an interesting story because, like I said, they got to keep up with here's the graph right here. They got to keep up with the Joneses. And for Portland, of course, Seattle is the Joneses. and or they're just jonesing in Portland. I don't know. But Portland homicide over 10 years. Here's the graph I was talking about. There's 2014. And as you can see, it was around about, that was about 20 homicides then. And now we're at 71. Yes, Portland. It's not getting safer and it's not getting cleaner. And that's just some of the things that are going on in Portland. And then on top of it, Portland has joined the national lawsuit against the Trump administration. This was also in the news recently. This is something I thought is funny. We don't have a whole lot of money left in this state. This is being reported on KBND. And it says, I'm sorry, that's not KBND. This is Coin, Koin, Coin. And, Portland has been a sanctuary city for quite a while. And I'm going to read a little bit from this story here. It says the city of Portland is joining several local governments across the country suing the Trump administration over executive orders targeting sanctuary cities. Good for them. According to the city, the Trump administration has been targeting sanctuary cities with executive order 14159, which revolves around protecting the American people against invasion, which we were being invaded, but he stopped that. Thank goodness President Trump stopped that. This would order federal agencies to cut off federal funding to sanctuary jurisdictions. As a result, the city says the administration is pressuring them into carrying out his agenda, which they add is the job of the federal government and immigration and customs enforcement agents, not the local government. And they would be correct in that fact, but they're not doing anything else than actually contacting the Department of Immigration. That's all they would be doing. They wouldn't, they talk about cooperating. What does it harm to pick up the phone or to drop an email and send it to Immigration and Naturalization? It's not like they're asking anyone here in Portland to go out of their way to help this department. No, they're just asking to be notified when there are illegals in the Hooskow. And it's something that Portland is definitely sucking its load on. But Portland just does that. Here was another news story coming out of Oregon. Youth, and this is the one that's on KBND. It says Youth Authority Director on leave. This comes out of Salem, Oregon. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek has placed the director of the Oregon Youth Authority on leave. Several lawsuits have alleged a pattern of grooming and sexual abuse and OYA correctional facilities. The Professional Standards Office is investigating Joe O'Leary. Joe O'Leary became director in 2018 and was the deputy director prior to that. Kotek says there's a backlog of complaints, which is unacceptable. Interim director, deputy director Jana McClellan was named the acting director. OYA has 900 youth between the ages of 12 and 24. And this is a really sad story because you're already talking about kids who are at risk. These are kids who are already in the system, who are already marginalized, and they are the kids who are left behind. Remember old George Bush, we don't leave any kids behind bullshit. These are the kids who are left behind. And of course, Oregon, the best that we can do is, we'll put a pervert in charge of the facilities that are housing these poor kids, because that's what they need. On top of all their life's problems, they've got abusive parents with drug problems, criminal records. They got criminal records themselves. They're just trying to get an education, just trying to do better. And of course, what does Oregon do? We throw them in a facility with perverts in charge. Yes, that's what we do here in Oregon to help our youth. And then we sit around wondering why generation after the next generation are a bunch of lost souls. This is the saddest thing. And this guy, if he's guilty of this, there is no punishment I can think. I guess I could think of a punishment for this guy, and I would think of a lot of very serious punishments, starting with hanging. You destroy a kid's life like this, and I can guarantee you, because this is an institution, that it's much, much worse than the type of abuse I believe someone would suffer at home because it's institutionalized. I mean, at home, usually you've got someone who is a blood relative there, even though they may be abusing you, doing horrible things. But I'm sure it's much worse when you've got someone who is in a position of authority looking over strangers, the children of strangers. Think of I don't know, the lack of any caring and concern in that facility. And so I hope they get to the bottom of this. I hope they find this SOB. And well, yeah, let's put it this way. Yeah, hanging probably would be too good. I don't know if you've been keeping track of the legislature. You know, I shouldn't even ask because I know the legislature sucks, and they're in session right now. So right now, our money, our rights, they're all in danger. So you got to watch these guys. You got to be very crafty at watching them. And unfortunately, there's some weird things going on in the legislature. And in one way to keep track of this, to keep track of what these guys are doing, and it's an organization that I recommend quite often. It's the Oregon Citizens Lobby. Now, the Oregon Citizens Lobby, if you go to their website, it's oregoncitizenslobby.org, and you can see it right here. It says, join the Oregon Citizens Lobby. And now what this organization does is they try to review bills, and they review those bills and they rate them whether they should be voted on or against. And then they will put those bills in a listing. Right there is the legislative alerts. And if you can see the scroll down machine right there, it has different issues such as agriculture, environment, natural resources, education, elections, energy, and transportation. Let's go ahead and click on education there. And as you can see, there are several bills listed right now. And it will tell you, such as the first one here, SB 867 prevents religious schools from school choice funding, which is a vote no, according to Oregon Citizens Lobby. And I would agree with them. Most of the time, I completely agree with this group. I would say about 98% of the time. And that's why I like going here and looking through these. SB 223, forced recognition of Peter Courtney. Boy, I'd love to find it. That's definitely a vote no. Vote yes on HB 2037, restricts female sports to biological females. That will never pass. I don't know who introduced that, but that will never pass. But the nice thing is you can go up there and you can click on it, and it will take you over to another part which will give you an overview of the bill. And this will tell you who introduced it. This will give you the number of the bill. It will show you the committee that it's in and how you can email that committee. Actually, it did say who voted for this, but that's okay, because if you go up here, it will give you the overview of the bill. And so you can click that, which will take you to the Oregon legislature. And let's share that tab. Can you see that tab? Yeah, there we go. And right there is the Oregon legislature. And there's that bill that we just clicked on, HB 2037. This is the 2025 regular session. And you can go down there and you can see that the sponsors were Wright, McIntyre, Boyce, Deal, Harbrick, Osborne, Owens, Reschke, Smith. The regular sponsors, Helfrich, Yavati, Yunker, and of course Thatcher. And if you know Thatcher and Yunker are the sponsors, I can pretty much guarantee you this is a bill that you would want to support. Unfortunately, this bill has no chance in hell of getting out of the Oregon legislature. Why? Because it makes too much common sense, so you'll never see it. But the reason I did this is because I wanted you to see the group that I'm involved with, and that's this group here, Oregon Citizens Lobby. And I wanted you to see this because you can go back to this website, oregoncitizenslobby.org, and you can become a volunteer yourself, and you can review legislation based on the 5 principles of this group, if you agree with those 5 principles. And they will let you become a member, and you can start looking at legislation. And I highly recommend it because there's a lot of legislation that comes out this time of year. And well, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? You want to be on top of this stuff. You want to be on top of this. Let's see. Oh, hey, Doug Washington is on there. For the first time in a long time, I look forward to reading the news every morning. Yes. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. I get up every morning and I love seeing the national news. I like turning on the Real Voice America, and it's like from beginning to end. Oh, guess what Trump did? Yeah, and Trump freed the free world. Yes, he did. And he's marching to Europe and beyond. So yes, I do love reading the news. Unfortunately, Doug, I got to give the news about the Oregon legislature. Now, there was a bill that came out maybe not years ago. It was in 2021. Let me put this up. I got to share this here. Let me see if I can get this screen together. Boop, there we are. Okay, this is from the Oregon State Legislature. Now, I don't know if you remember this bill. This is a bill I talked about. I talked about it for several reasons. This is Senate Bill 762, and this was introduced in 2021. And this came out of the Committee for Natural Resources and Wildfire Recovery. This bill was introduced at the request of the Committee on Natural Resources and Wildlife Recovery, and of course, Governor Kate Brown at the time. So we knew it was a bad bill just by looking at this bill. And it was on natural resources and wildfire. And the bill title was relating to wildfire. And it sounds good. Sounds like a really good thing, except when you start looking into it, it says directs Public Utility Commission to convene workshops. Oh, convene workshops. Okay, why? Requires public utility that provides electricity to have wildfire protection plan. Provides that violation is subject to civil penalty not to exceed $10,000. Requires consumer-owned utility to have wildfire mitigation plan. Directs State Board of Forestry to establish criteria for developing statewide map of wildfire risk, establishing certified burn management program, and report to the Legislative Assembly on or before December of 2021. And then it goes through all of these other different directives that it gives. It gives the directive to a state fire marshal to give to establish defensible space. It gives a directive to the Department of Land Conservation and Development to identify certain land use updates and report to the Legislative Assembly. It gives more directives to several other departments. Most of this was really about more regulation on rural people living in rural parts of Oregon. That's all this was. It was like 22 pages. And we told them back then not to vote for this. And one of the reasons we told them not to vote for this is that we knew that this was going to drive up the price of our insurance. And of course, the politicians said, "Oh, don't be crazy. Oh, no, don't be crazy. It's not going to drive up the cost of your insurance. No. This is just going to provide crumpets and tea for the queen. That's all. But no, it didn't. It actually drove up the price of insurance because now we've got all these wildfire maps that puts everyone in a high wildfire area. And the different levels of of ratings that you get into as far as firefighting ratings on whether you would have a wildfire or your house would be burned in a wildfire. Well, depending on what rating you get, you could be looking at a lot more money for your insurance, a lot more money. This could be a real pain in the drain, if you know what I mean. So we told them not to vote for this. This is Senate Bill 762. And I want to take you down here. This is the nice thing about this. This is from, let me go back up. This is from the 2021 regular session. Now you go back down and you look at the history of the measure. Let's look at the history of the measure. And it tells you all the different committees that the bill went into, all the different hearings they had. And then it gets down to the vote. And of course, there was a vote made. The rules were suspended. It came to a third reading. And on that third reading, they had a vote. And let's see. Oh, Dick Anderson voted for it. So, if Dick Anderson voted for it, it must have been a really, really bad bill. But let's see. Bo Quest, he voted against it. Smart man, Bo Quest. Gerard voted against it. Let's see. Dallas Hurd, good man, voted against it. Let's see who else. Thompson voted against it. Let's see. Thatcher voted against it. Robinson voted against it. Linthicum voted against it. All good people, and they voted against it. Why? Because the senators knew that this bill 762 was going to drive up the cost of our insurance. They knew this. We knew it. We told them then. And then you go down to the House vote, and this is where it gets really interesting, because you look at the House vote and look at all the Republicans who voted for this bill. Let's see. Drazen voted for it. Kate voted against it. That's good. Monahan, Breezy Iverson voted against. That's surprising. They usually vote for bad bills like this. Well, let me take you on down here. Let's see. Stark and Whalen voted against it. Reschke voted against it, which Reschke's a pretty good guy. But then you go to people like David Brock Smith. David Brock Smith, he voted for this mapping bill. Yeah, at the time he was bragging about it. What a great thing this mapping bill was. And of course, Wright voted for it. Boomer Wright voted for it. Well, of course, he voted for it. You can see that down right here. And at the time, Boyce wasn't in office, so he didn't. But here's the funny thing. Owens voted for it too. Now, why this is important, Mark Owens, is I'm going to show you a videotape here that happened today. This is a videotape that happened today at a news conference. Let me take this off the screen. And they were talking about this mapping bill, and they were talking about how they were going to have to repeal Senate Bill 762. And I want you to watch this video, and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion afterwards. Let me see if I can get this on over here. All right, check this video out, and we'll discuss at the end of it.
I'd like to introduce House Republican Assistant Leader, Representative Mark Owens, co-chair of the Agriculture, Land Use, Natural Resources, and Water Committee. Representative Owens.
Good morning. And to all Oregonians that are out there frustrated because they woke up and saw another rendition of the map that put them in a high area. Frustrated because they are in a WUI. Frustrated because Oregon, ODF, and OSU said it'd be different this time from 2022. Frustrated because they don't know how to repeal the map, how to get on a computer program, how to help their elderly, the disadvantaged communities actually have impact in this. For all those that are concerned, all those Oregonians that are concerned about the simple fact that fire hardening they had done since conception of this has not been taken effect. Concerned because they live by federal land, public land that has been mismanaged, and no matter what they do on their land, this will not change their high hazard. Frustrated that they're in a WUI when they don't even know what a wildland-urban interface is done. And the original commitment from Senate Bill 762, where we have a good definition of a wildland-urban interface, it did not happen. To all those that are scared that they could lose their state, scared that they cannot afford the wildfire hardening, scared that they cannot afford the regulation of policy that is coming forward to them, scared of the civil liabilities that can make them go bankrupt. We hear you. We stand collectively today to be your voice. Please help us as we work to repeal the fire maps from 762. For a little history, in July of 2022, 2 days after the maps were issued, former Senator Finley, and I hosted ODF, OSU, traveled on to different places in Eastern Oregon, stood in the middle of center pivot irrigation and asked, how is this high? How is this a WUI? They said it was a mistake. Traveled to flood irrigated meadows, asked the same questions. They said it was a mistake. You look back in those maps today, they're still there, or the majority of them are still there. We had a commitment that they'd work with communities, work with counties, put boots on the ground to get these maps right. They did not fulfill that commitment. That is a mistake. These maps are flawed. These maps are dangerous. And if we look towards the long term, Senate Bill 79 that has been introduced in the Senate side this year basically says if you're in a WUI, in a high hazard area, you won't be able to build in Oregon again. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to tell our rural communities? That we want all of us to go to Portland? We all want to be urbanized? No. Please let us be your voice. Please work with us to put enough political pressure to get these maps repealed. It is important, and we want to stand with you. Thank you. Right after this, we're going to have some questions.
All right. And here they are, just a couple years later, trying to repeal the bill that we warned them about. And what makes me really mad is that I pointed this fact out on the Lars Larson show, and Lars Larson told me, "Oh no, Rob, you're wrong. The insurance companies have said this wasn't going to raise our insurance rates." And I said, well, I disagree with you. I think that's not right. And so far, I was proven right. It is going to raise our insurance rates. It has raised our insurance rate. We warned about this bill, SB 762, back in 21. We warned that if this was allowed to pass, that it was going to be devastating to the rural areas. And here we are, just a few short years later, dealing with this problem now. And this is one of the reasons that we ran somebody against David Brock Smith, because the man is a known liar. He is a known liar. Who knows what story he's going to make up why he voted for Senate Bill 762. I have no idea. But his counterpart in the Senate, Dallas Hurd, voted against that bill. So you got to ask yourself, why are these Republicans so damn easy to work with these Democrats? They don't have to. The Democrats don't need them. The Republicans shouldn't be working with any Democrat on any bill for any reason. You're not going to get nothing from them. And if you think you are, then you're a damn fool. And so I don't know what they're going to do to be able to fix Senate Bill 762. As you saw in that press conference, they have several bills to fix those problems, to fix Senate Bill 762. But you have to go back to the original question. Why did so many Republicans support the bill in the first place when we were telling them back then it was a bad bill? And the second question is, why the hell do we, the voters, keep re-electing those same Republicans back into office? This is why I ran in so many people in the primary against these establishment Republicans, because they're capitulating with the Democrats. And then they have to come back to us, the people they represent in rural Oregon, and they have to have all these meetings, all these town halls about this fire mapping, because they screwed up back in 21, passing Senate Bill 762. And now they're trying to pass this or explain it away with some kind of nonsensical story and give us some type of solution that we know the Democrats probably won't pass. And why? Because they want us in Portland, just like Owen said. That's where they want us. They look at Coos County as their playground, and that's what they want for us in Coos County. We are supposed to be the serfs, the peons for all these wonderful people living in these big cities, and we're their playground. They come out here to go golfing, they come out here to go fishing, they come out here to go into our oceans, into our rivers, our lakes, our streams, our woods, enjoy all the things that we love, truly cherish about rural Oregon. They take advantage of it, and then they try to swindle us out of our own property, and our representatives go along with it. And people go, Rob, why are you so hard on the Republicans? Well, it's the Republicans who are screwing us in a lot of these deals. So when you go to this fire mapping meeting and they start talking about Senate Bill 762, you ask Mark Owens, you ask Boomer Wright, and you ask David Brock Smith why they voted for something so bad that now it has to be repealed. And then you ask them, why should they vote for them if they can't get it right the first time? I would love to hear someone ask that of Boomer Wright, David Brock Smith, and of course of Mark Owens, the gentleman you saw in that interview. I'm just curious. As why we got stuck at this point. And I'm sure they're going to come up with some silly ass answer, but don't take it. You don't take their BS. You find out why, because we got to get to the bottom of this mapping thing, and we've got to start taking care of our forest. And one best thing that Trump could do right now, the best thing that Trump could do is give back the counties, not the states, the counties. Give the land back to the counties in which they were designated in. And that means the ONC lands. Some of it would go to Curry, some of it would go to Douglas, some of it would come here to Coos. The land that's inside our border of our county, that would revert back to us. The Coos Bay Wagon Road, that should revert back to us. Could you imagine the amount of money we could be making if we were allowed to harvest that land inside our county? And then you've got Republicans in Salem voting for a fire map that's literally going to destroy our way of life. Nobody's going to be able to afford to live out here. Nobody's going to be able to afford to pass down their property. And that's exactly what the people of Portland, the people of Eugene want for those of us who live in this rural area. And I'm just sick of it. We need new representatives. And I know people are going to go, oh, Rob, you're just upset because these people have attacked you personally. Well, it's beyond that. No, they're attacking you too, whether you know this or not. When Republicans vote to put tampons in the boys' bathroom, it's not me doing it. When the Republicans vote to put wind turbines off your coast, that's not me doing it. And when Republicans vote to have the state to create these extreme wildfire maps that drive up the cost of insurance, especially out here in rural Oregon, it's not me doing it. It's these Republicans who are sitting in office. And maybe they shouldn't be sitting in office. Maybe it's time to change some of them out. Get some of those Republicans that are doing good on the federal level. And we're going to be talking more about the Republicans who are on the federal level. I don't know if you've been checking out the Doge thing and what's been going on there. Let me see if I can get this. Nope, of course it didn't. There we go. This was an interesting story with all the money that they're finding in the federal government that's being wasted. It says more than $151 million collected from U.S. Army soldiers for food ended up spent elsewhere in a report. That's right. So you're going to love this. This is for our soldiers. Doge hasn't even gotten to this yet. They're money grubbing grub money. Yeah, I'm not sure what the hell that means, but millions of dollars collected by the United States Army for a food program were spent elsewhere. Are you surprised? I'm not. Can you imagine that? The government taking money that's supposed to be allocated for one thing and then redistributing it for other things. I couldn't imagine the government do that, but with less than half of the funds actually finding their way to soldiers' plates, according to a report. An investigation report from military.com found that of the $225 million snatched up from junior enlisted soldiers as part of the basic allowance for subsistence program, just $74 million went towards the food. Interesting. It's just returned to the big pool of Army funds and it's used someplace else, an official told the outlet. That's right. We don't feed these kids. We're not feeding these kids. And I don't know about you, but these young men, they got families in the military. They got to feed these families. They need this money for food. But it says the money is collected in what amounts to a tax on troops taken from their BAS payment of $460 per month and automatically deducted from paychecks of service members who live in barracks. The program is intended to help enlisted men and women to cover food costs. And here we are, we're crapping all over the very people that we're depending on to defend our country. And here we are, we're just crapping all over these young people who, they have those bright eyes and those heartfelt dreams that America, God, country, and the American flag. And then they find out, oh, you mean that was a bunch of bullshit? Yeah, I'm sorry, Timmy. Yeah, they really don't care about you, soldiers. So we're just going to take a little more money and you'll just have to go with a little less food. Well, I say bullshit to that. My friends. I think these soldiers have earned it. They deserve it. And we need to find a way to get this money back into the soldiers' pocket. Here was another one. Let's see. U.S. presented Ukraine with a document to access its minerals, but offered almost nothing in return. Now, this was a weird story because this came out of the San Francisco gate. So I just assume it's a bunch of bullshit just on the surface here. And part of the reason I think it's a bunch of BS right here on the surface, and I'm going to read from it, is that haven't we given a whole bunch of weapons and a lot of money to the Ukraine? I don't know. It seems like we've given a buttload of money and weapons to the Ukraine. So I don't know why the San Francisco Gate is saying that we presented them with a document to access its minerals, but offered nothing in return. Yeah, let's see this. It says Munich, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky says he directed his ministries not to sign off on a proposal agreement to give the United States access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals because the document was too focused on U.S. interest. Well, gee, buddy, we're paying the bill. Not only are we paying the bill, we're buying the ballroom. We bought the ballroom, we're letting you dance, and we're paying for the bill. We're paying for the fiddler. So the proposal, which was a key part of Zelensky's talks with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference on Friday, did not offer any specific security guarantees in return, according to one former senior Ukrainian official familiar with the talks. I continue. It says Zelensky's decision not to accept the proposal, at least for now, was described as short-sighted by a senior White House official. I didn't get the ministries sign a relevant agreement because, in my view, it is not ready to protect us, our interests, Zelensky told the Associated Press. And, Zelensky, I don't know about you, buddy, but you're getting your ass kicked by Putin. You would think that you would want to be, a little more receptive to the things we give you and the things we ask for. And to be quite honest with you, I think we should get the hell out of the Ukraine. I don't think it's any of our business. I mean, if Trump wants to go over there and try to play negotiator and delegate a peace treaty between the two countries, that's fine. But I'm done. I'm done as far as paying. And I'm a little ticked off that Trump gave Israel a bunch of new weapons as well. I'm not very happy about that. I guess you can't be happy about everything. I'm one of those who I believe that countries should defend themselves. Countries should defend themselves and countries should pay for it. And the countries in an area where such as Europe, you've got the Ukraine in Europe. They got plenty of European countries there. They can help out the Ukraine if they're so worried about Russia. Me, I'm not too worried about Russia. I'm not too worried. They can come over here and try to take my country, but I think they're going to get a little bit of a unwarm welcome. So I don't know why we defend Ukraine, and I don't know why we defend places like Israel. I don't know. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. We for so many years we didn't even protect our own border, and here we are protecting someone else's. This was fun. I want to share this tab with you. Social Security fraud, as if there's any other kind, right? Nearly 1.5 million Americans listed as over 150 years old. 1,041 over 220 years old. And boy, I thought I was an old man. No, apparently not. In the world of Social Security, I am a young man. I am. I did not realize this. I didn't realize how many 150-year-olds there were still left on Social Security, and over 1,000 of them are over 220 years. This is amazing. Elon Musk and his crack team at the Department of Government Efficiency, or as we like to call Doge, man, have been scouring federal data for signs of waste, fraud, and abuse, as they should have been all along. But they may have found something massive at the Social Security Administration. Musk shared via X on Sunday that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Americans listed as alive in the Social Security database who have probably been dead for quite a while. I don't know why he doesn't believe this. Why would Americans are so healthy? We probably got a couple of 150-year-olds out there. I don't know what Musk is just screwing with us, man. But it says the database included over 1.3 million people between the ages of 150 and 159, nearly 122,000 between the ages of 160 and 169, and over 6,000 between the ages of 170 to 179. That does not include a few thousand more between 180 and 229 years old, meaning they were born well before the Civil War. If they're black, we better be paying them reparations. I mean, there you go. You find me a black man who was alive before the Civil War, who was a slave, I personally will pay him reparations. And apparently, we may have some of those people at the Social Security Department. This is very interesting stuff here. According to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set as false or too false. Musk told the public while sharing a screenshot of the data. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. It may be. Maybe Twilight is real and we've got a bunch of them collecting Social Security. So good for Doge. They did a great job. They did a very good job. And they continue. Doge puts DEI on the chopping block with a termination of over $370 million in education department grants. Gosh, I sure do hope so many of those grants were coming to Oregon. And I hope that there were a lot of blue-haired, freaky, face-tattooed people who were expecting these grants, who are now crying in their Kool-Aid because you ain't getting the money. You ain't getting the money, freaky blue-haired person. That's right. Doge is putting a stop to these education grants. And I hope Oregon is at the top of the list. I hope they give a list of the states who lost grants. Better yet, I hope they give a list of exactly where those grants were going to. I would love to see that. We will have to check into this to see where some of this money was going. But Doge puts DEI on chopping block with termination of over $370 million in education department grants. Doge reportedly slashed $9.7 million from UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills. Yeah, let the Cambodia do that. Cambodia can do that just fine. Let's see if this goes down anymore. No, but went past the pay-per-view. Yeah, I don't need any more. The headline says it all. Doge puts DEI on the chopping block. And it's about damn time. It's about damn time. Now, I don't know about you, but I just recently heard a rumor, and I can say this now because I heard it from several different people, that our own port, our Port of Coos Bay, was having trouble meeting their salaries, their employee salaries. That's what I heard. That they were having trouble coming up with the money to pay their employees. I don't know if that's true or not. And any of you who might know or in a position to know, please let me know. I would love to hear whether that's true or not. If our own Port of Coos Bay was having problems paying out the salaries. And from what I understand it, they've got a person over there who specializes in DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're going to be doing a little digging around the Port of Coos Bay and find out who that might be and talk about some of the programs they might be spending our money on right here in Coos County. Wouldn't that be interesting? I think it would be very interesting. But that Doge is kicking butt and taking names. I just read that story about how they've lost so much money for those poor. They didn't even lose the money. They stole money from our soldiers that were supposed to pay for their food. And hopefully some of that money is going to get back to these soldiers. And, after finding these hundreds of millions of dollars wasted in other programs, you would hope that would be the case. On another funnier note, and I don't know, this really isn't funny, but it was just one of those stories that I thought we just have to tell. You know Enrique Tarrio. I'm in communication with Enrique right now, and we're going to get him on the podcast at some point in time because Enrique is a really cool dude. I think it was BS what they were saying about him, that he was actually working with the FBI during the January 6th event. We do know that he did work with the FBI for another reason. And for those reasons, I understood why he did that. But I doubt he was working with the FBI during the January 6th event. One reason is because he went to jail. He was charged with, I think he had a magazine. It was just a regular magazine, and he got charged in Washington, D.C., and I think he was facing like 20 years. Let me read the story here. It says the Proud Boys just lost use of their own name in the funniest way. So they're already making fun of them, but it was kind of funny, I had to admit. The judge awarded the use of the group's name and symbols to a church in Washington, D.C. Now, you're going to love this. Now, remember in 2020, when all those crazy Antifa people were out there and they were burning churches, they were looting stores, they were burning down federal buildings and police stores and all that stuff. Yeah, you remember that. Well, the Proud Boys, there was an event, and I'm going to read here from the article. It says the Proud Boys have lost the legal rights to their name to a black church they attacked. DC, and remember Enrique is Cuban. He's part black himself. So, if they're trying to claim racism, it's a stretch, but whatever. It says the DC Superior Judge Tanya Boiser ruled Monday that the Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church now owns the name and symbols of the violent white nationalist hate group. This was reported by the New York Times. And the ruling is the outcome of an incident in December of 2020. Let me see if I can get this a little bit larger. A little bit bigger. There we go. That's a little bit better. The ruling is the outcome of an incident in December of 2020, fresh off a Supreme Court decision rejecting Texas' bid to subvert the results of the 2020 presidential election for Donald Trump. The Proud Boys took to the streets of Washington, where a violent confrontation with counter-protesters broke out. During their march, members of the Proud Boys, including their leader, Enrique Tarrio, trespassed onto the church's property and set its Black Lives Matter banner ablaze, which was hilarious. That's all he did, was he set a BLM flag afire. That's all he did. Tarrio was arrested on vandalism charges on January 4th and was consequently not present for the violent riot at the U.S. Capitol. Just days later, he was still sentenced with seditious conspiracy for helping plan the riot. In June 2023, D.C. Superior Court Judge Neil Kravitz ruled that the destruction of property at Metropolitan AME had been highly orchestrated and hateful and overtly racist conduct, and granted a $2.8 million default judgment against the Proud Boys, but the group never handed over the money. Well, probably because they didn't have it. Lawyers for the church then sought to satisfy that judgment by having the group hand over something of value, its name. The decision bars the Proud Boys from selling any merchandise with its name or associated symbols without the express permission of the church. Tarrio, who was serving a 22-year sentence until Donald Trump pardoned him last month, was less than thrilled about the decision. He said in a statement that the judge should be impeached and that the church should forfeit its nonprofit status. Now, I agree with you, because this church has a nonprofit status. The church has a nonprofit status, and yet it has a political banner on the front of the church, Black Lives Matter, and there are riots going on where the people who are who are backed by this banner, Black Lives Matter, they're the ones out there rioting. They're the ones out there looting. They're the ones causing trouble. And of course, you're going to have people retaliate. And you probably shouldn't commit, crimes against other people's property. That was wrong. But how much can a Black Lives Matter shirt cost? I'm not a shirt, but a flag. $20, $25. Seriously? That's all he did. He didn't. And if I remember, he described the incident on my show, and he talked about pulling down the flag and setting it on fire. So the church was never a threat of being of catching on fire itself. So 22 years he got for sedition, and they were going to give him $2.8 million fine for setting a Black Lives Matter flag ablaze. And this church now gets his group's name and still gets a nonprofit status for the church, even though they were clearly practicing politics. Once again, this is one of those bad leftist Christians. Yes, people, these are the Christians, and I don't want to go on a Christian bash. I did pretty bad last week. But this is once again Christians who use Christianity or the word of God as a crutch, a shield, and a sword all at the same time are probably not using it correctly. They're not using the word of God the way it should be. They should have forgiven Enrique Tarrio. They should have practiced forgiveness and forgiven Enrique Tarrio. That's what they really should have done, because that's what the left expects of everyone else. We're sorry we burnt down your police station. Forgive us. Just forgive us. We did it out of a protest. There was a just reason that we did it. So I don't know. I saw that, and I'll tell you what, I was just I was just a little ticked off. Let's see. Got that. Let's see what else was on. Else was on here? Oh, let's see. Oh, nope. Not that story. What other story was there? I saw a couple of other good news stories in here. Oh, here's another one. Let me see if I can share this one. This was a good one. This was in Just the News. Let me see if I can get this popped up there. There you go. Just the News. This is a good website if you ever get a chance. Real America's Voice is a good place to go check this out. Welfare for colleges. Yeah, NIH slush fund allegedly stiffs research to fund administrative bloat. Well, of course they do. And I don't know if I even want them funding research. Sounds like most of the research is BS too, but this was a lot of money. It says private foundations fund only a fraction of the indirect cost Uncle Sam does, and universities spread panic to keep the taxpayer spigot gushing. Critics say universities launder federal money to researchers for perks so they go along. Meaning that if you got someone who you're paying in a college, more than likely you're going to get the results you want because, well, you're paying them. Who cares if you're paying them with our money? You're paying them. And that's how we get all these phony all these phony reports out there. But it says the sky is falling for the nation's wealthiest medical research institution and their allies in government subsidized media in the wake of the National Institute of Health ratcheting back the extra money they receive for indirect cost as a percentage of research grants. This is great. The Association of American Medical Colleges portrayed the cut on facilities and administrative cost reimbursements as an attack on research grants themselves that will harm every American with slower scientific progress, longer waits for cures, and fewer jobs. You mean like the forced COVID shots? Is that what you're talking about, guys? Yeah. Don't care one bit. I'm glad to hear about this. I am so glad to hear about this. This is a warm welcome, and it's about time. Say goodbye to the greatest engine of biomedical research ever created, intoned the New England Skeptical Society's publication, Science-Based Medicine, whose manager editor, David Gorski, called the Great Barrington Declaration's author, one nominated for NIH director, COVID-19 deniers for opposing lockdowns in 2020. Of course, we're COVID-19 deniers. No, what we were denying was the things that you people were saying cures. We knew the disease was out there. We could see the disease. The question was should we have shut down the economy? Should we have forced people to mask? Should we have forced people to get shot? Should we have shut down the schools? Hell no, none of that should have happened. But some researchers see the new 15% cap on negotiated indirect cost rate agreements paused Monday by a President Biden nominated judge in 22 states that sued to block it as welfare reform for colleges and a shot across the bow to administrators to stop pilfering from their researchers who can get bigger grants with lower NICRAs. And that's what we should be looking for. And so this wasn't even Doge. This was a Biden judge who said, screw you, colleges. We're tired of giving you so much damn money because this is why it costs so much for our kids to go to school. Oh, having a technical difficulty there. Are there any other kinds? Let's see. Boy, I am. This is not good at all. I lost control of my camera. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Stop share screen. Let's get that off of there. I don't know. I may have to do the rest of this program without. I don't know why this does this sometimes. Just crazy stuff. I don't know why it does this. And every now and then the camera just goes off. And there's no explanation for it. Let me try unplugging it. I don't know. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Okay. Okay, it looks like, folks, like I'm having some technical difficulties. I won't be able to do the rest of the program. I do have a video to show you. I can put this up on stage and still continue to talk. I was going to go into about freedom of speech because in Europe right now, they're trying to take away freedom of speech. And meet Meret Schneider. She is a member of the Switzerland National Council. She wants to ban X in Switzerland, saying it may be a threat to democracy and that it promotes conservatives. Yeah, you damn conservatives. We got to get rid of you conservatives. You're the problem here. You are the problem, you damn conservatives. Right. Yeah. Okay. Anyone who says that they got to save democracy by getting rid of free speech is probably your worst of the worst enemies. And I got a video to go with this. I thought this was kind of interesting. So see you on the other side.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany.
Hier ist die Polizei, wir müssen bitte mal mit Ihnen reden.
Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online. At the exact same time across Germany, more than 50 similar raids played out. Part of what prosecutors say is a coordinated effort to curb online hate speech in Germany.
They're in favor of this. Do you understand? They're in favor. They want to model America's laws after Europe's. 6.
And so there you go. They want to model America's laws after European. It was funny. That was a 60 Minutes report that was reported on Alex Jones, which was then third reported on, well, this show right here. but it was such a good story. I thought I'd had to present that to you. I couldn't find the actual 60-minute footage, so I threw that up there because I thought it was damn interesting. Well, since I'm having so much technical difficulties, I think I'm going to be getting out of here a little bit early, but I did find this a little bit amusing. I thought you guys, I know that you guys have that same sick sense of humor I have, so I thought you might enjoy this. I saw this on Twitter, and well, it was just damn funny. So, what can I say? Just enjoy my sick sense of humor, and here you go.
My 3-year wedding anniversary. This has been hands down the most depressing, miserable, horrible 3 years of my life. I've never hated another person more than I hate the person that I married. I run my ass off and I do everything for everybody in my life. He goes to work. Yeah, his job's hard. Yeah, his hours suck. He works. That is all he does. I am 30 years old and I'm literally begging for the bare minimum every single day. Yeah, I don't work. But the amount of weight I carry, I can tell you why I've stayed. Money. It's that simple. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And yeah, I know I can leave because trust me, I am leaving. But people can't just walk out and leave one day when you have kids and 12 years of life wrapped up together. You can't just walk away with nothing. In sickness and health, better or worse, no. You gotta have a plan.
A few moments later.
My husband left the night that I posted that original video.
Already broken.
Today.
Oh, that was so damn funny. I just had to play that for you. Let's see here. Tomorrow at the Board of Commissioners meeting, 201 North Adams. It starts at 9:30 a.m. Please join us tomorrow, February 18th, Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. at the Owen Building. There'll be several different things on the agenda that I think are going to pique your curiosity. And of course, since they're meeting tomorrow night, Board of Commissioners, well, they're going to have also a Coos Bay meeting that night. The City Council meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in the City Hall building in Coos Bay. That's 500 Central. That's happening tomorrow, also at 6 p.m. And it had a very short agenda. So if you go to that meeting, you'll be out within 30 minutes. I'm pretty much guarantee you that. But that's what's going on in and around your neighborhood. And of course, I want to remind you, everyone who's listening, if you need to get rid of those problem trees in your yard, give a call to 3H Tree Service. 3H Tree Service, 541-294-1800. 3H Tree Service. They can come in, they can take out those trees. Heck, I don't even need to tell you nothing. Here's the commercial. All right, 3H Tree Service for all your tree service needs. Give them a call at 541-294-1800. If you want to check out more of those fabulous videos, then I recommend you go to 3H Tree Service on Facebook page and enjoy. They kick ass 90 feet in the air. Chainsaw in one hand with a wave in the other, and they're taking care of business. Those guys are badass. 3H Tree Service. 541-294-1800. And for all your automotive needs, you need to go talk to Tim over at Tom and Gigs. Tim over at Tom and Gigs can take care of your muffler, your shocks, your struts, your alignments, anything that you have in your car, he can take care of it. He can take care of your automotive needs. He's at 135 South Shoneman Street. Tom and Gigs. They've been in business for, several decades, quite a while. They know their stuff. If you want to give them a call and set up an appointment, give them a call at 541-888-4660. Once again, that's 541-888-4660. 4660. Tom and Gigs. And of course, Herbal Choices. Herbal Choices for all your herbal needs. If you need to find an Herbal Choices, they have 5 locations. You can find out more at their website, the herbalchoices.com website. They have quite a bit of information on there. And remember, you must be 21 years or older to be in Herbal Choices. That's just the deal, folks. That's just the deal. Like I said, they got 5 locations. They got one in Charleston. They've got one in Coos Bay. They've got one in Bandon. They've got one in Reedsport and one in North Bend. Very beautiful places, very well lit, good parking lots, good bud tenders, very informative to tell you all you need to know about all of your cannabis needs. And Oregon Firearms Federation. I can't get out of here without mentioning Oregon Firearms Federation, the only no compromise gun group in Oregon. Check them out at OregonFirearms.org. Kevin Starrett, he put out a really great newsletter just recently, talking about one of the crazy, insane gun laws that they're trying to push on us. And it's just incredible, the nonsense that goes on in the legislature. People complain about the laws they pass. You should see the bills they don't pass. It's crazy. And one of the few people up there helping stop this is Oregon Firearms Federation. And they are working very hard. The only no compromise gun group in Oregon, OregonFirearms.org. And of course, they're not my sponsors, but I like to remind people that if you want to hone your gun or your shotgun, hone your skills, go to the Bandon Gun Club at bandongunclub.org or Tioga Sports Park at the TiogaSportsPark.org. And that's for Tioga Sports Park Association. The park is it was open. I think it was, I don't know if it was this past, I don't know about last weekend, but the weekend before last they were open. So I don't know. You have to check at TiogaSportsPark.org, their website, to find out if they're even open. And as you can see, my camera still is not quite there, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'm going to have a really good show on Friday. Got a lot of ranting to do. I don't know who is going to be on. We'll find some victim to be on the Friday night rant. Should be a good show. I hope you all tune in. I got some really good guests scheduled for the next month. So tune in to the Rob Taylor Report every Monday at 3 o'clock or the Friday night rant Fridays at 8 p.m. And I'm going to thank all of you for tuning in. I will catch you next time on the Rob Taylor Report. And until next time, you know what I always say, carry on, Coos County. Carry on.
Yeah.